When's the last innovation that art's done here?
I don't know. I'm not that into. I'm not the into art, but I'm sure
I'm talking about any art. I feel like recently.
I'm sure there's.
I feel like the last couple of decades, like compared to how things were in the past, dude. Music used to fucking innovate so much.
You don't think music has been innovated recently?
Not recently. No,
I don't think so. I think there's a lot of creative artists.
Listen to music now versus like early, like 2010.
Have you heard?
They don't sound that much different.
Have you heard
or at least on the topper end? Like the upper end is just taking one sound and then it becomes a prominent sound, but that sound's been there forever.
Yeah, I don't agree.
Like
with
the
that.
whole trap drums have been fucking used on every goddamn song since 2008.
I think there's definitely elements that are similar, of course, with everything, because it's the foundation of art. You got to use elements.
Well, here's the thing.
But
I guess my example would be in almost every industry, things have innovated so quickly. Whereas I feel like something like music hasn't innovated as quickly as it used to. Like listen to music in the 50s and compare it to the 60s, how different it is. But listen to music from 2010 versus 2020, I don't hear that much of a difference.
You don't? Oh, I definitely 1000%. Have you heard the rock, I Just Want to Rock by Lil Uzi?
I think so.
Compare that to a song in 2010. Totally different sounds. Two totally different structures. Back in 2010, you had...
Well, the structures now, it's like one verse, one hook, a verse, a hook, and it's done. And the verses aren't even 16 bars on a rap song anymore.
But sometimes they don't even have hooks. Sometimes it's literally the rock song, I Just Want to Rock. He says, I just want to rock. I don't want to rock. There's nothing like that in 2010. 2010, it was like a whole structure. So you have a verse, a hook, a verse, a hook. Like you have 3 verses, you have 2 hooks.
Structure has always been structured, but what I'm saying specifically is within the sounds. If you listen to a song that came out in 81 versus 84, sounds different.
I think we'll have to agree to disagree. I think there's a lot
of... Because music, the thing is like, especially like going back to whenever like the British invasion happened in rock, the amount of change in different genres of rock that blew up at that time within just a short period of time, just the amount of different sounds that happened. There were so many more than I feel like happens nowadays. But a lot of that comes down to is most people who make music nowadays don't really have a music background because there's not like music programs really anymore.
And I think that is a reason why it's innovation.
I haven't seen as much innovation.
I have. You can make the argument.
I've honestly started to listen to other countries' musics because I've kind of not seeing like, it feels like everything feels so watered down where everyone's going for similar sounds. It's because the type of music, basically everything feels corporatized.
It's because of the type of music you listen to. I listen to a lot of indie, a lot of underground artists.
I'm not even talking about, I'm talking about mainstream. That's what I'm talking about.
I'm not talking about mainstream.
What I'm saying is within mainstream music, as little, it's changed very little in the last decade or two.
Well, that's a different argument.
Mainstream, well, that's what I'm talking about specifically. The mainstream hasn't changed very much compared to how it used to change back, say, in the 70s. Mainstream music would change like every 2 or 3 years, whereas now we're kind of on similar sounds that we had a decade ago.
That's a different argument. I don't totally agree with that argument either, but that's a totally different argument. I'm not saying mainstream.
That's the argument I'm having. I'm talking about mainstream because that's what realistically is getting plays.
Yeah, I guess.
Because I prefer the indie type of shit too, but that's because we're both hipsters at this point.
Not really hipsters. It's just music. It's mainstream music, like you said, is very similar all around. I still think there's innovation with even mainstream music.
I don't see much.
I disagree with that. I think there's still innovation with mainstream music. It might have been, the different argument is not enough mainstream or not enough innovation, or
that's my point is,
or less.
For the period of time compared to other eras, there has been very little innovation compared.
I wouldn't say very little. I wouldn't say probably not as much as before, but I would not say very little. And I would still say there's still innovation within, but anyway, we're getting off the point. The point is, I think there needs to be innovation with art in general.
Well, here's my point. What I was trying to get to is, I think that is also a continuation of basically what the big corporations get behind.
Yeah.
They want something that they know have worked before, which is why almost every song comes out nowadays that's a big song is literally a remake of a song that came out 2 or 3 decades ago that was a hit.
See, I think I don't agree with that. I do think that there are remakes and a lot of remakes within art. I don't think there are the hits though. I think the big hits are some songs that are remakes for sure. But there's a lot of other not remakes, but there's a lot of other hits that are innovated songs. Like I Just Want to Rock.
That's fucking a old rock song. That's
What,
literally
what old rock song? I don't know that old rock song.
it's an old rock song. Oh, what's it called? Fuck.
Yeah, I don't know that.
I just want to rock.
Body yada yeah. That's an old rock song.
Let's see.
Yeah, you gotta put me on.
Let's see. It's a Ted Nugent song.
Play it. You gotta put me on.
Let's see. Of course, it's a little bit different because Lil Uzi did something
And
different.
yeah, that's not a remake.
Let's see.
It's an innovation.
Oh yeah, by taking a fucking
Yes.
major part of a song.
No, it's not it's an innovation because he made something different he innovated
Okay, let's play the Uzi song first.
to create a different sound.
Yeah, by using sounds that have been around.
Yes, innovation. Exactly.
I don't know if I count that as innovation.
Okay, let's look up the word innovation.
I just wanna rock. Body out of y'all.
It's just the Uzi song.
I haven't listened to
You
this
cannot
one.
tell me this sounded like anything from 2010.
This sounds like fucking. These are 80 cents.
What is that?
Well, here's my point: is music nowadays basically goes back into just pooling old sounds. We're not making new sounds.
Not making new sounds, but we are making new sounds in a sense. When we're using different sounds, we're structuring it.
Yeah, this is
differently.
literally fucking 80 cents
We're
in a
structuring.
similar chord progression.
I wouldn't say
The
similar.
only difference is they're putting an 808 under it.
But we're structuring it differently. We're innovating from the sound. This is not the same. We're making something different.
The hook went different than I thought it was.
Yeah, this is.
Because the way you said it sounded like the fucking old Ted Nugent song.
Have you heard this song before?
No.
What are you talking about then? I thought you heard it before.
No, I haven't.
Yeah. I think I don't agree with your take that is very little innovation. I just don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. I think
Well, it's because most of what you listen to is just indie shit.
no, I don't. I listen to a lot of shit. I listen to everything except country. I don't listen to country.
No, the last fucking decade, everything tries to sound like Drake.
I think there's a section of music.
And there's a
that sounds
large
like
section.
not a large section.
Basically all R&B now.
That's not a large section.
Everyone sounds like they're underwater with a fucking auto-tune now. And I love that shit, but I'm saying it's not very innovative when we've been doing the same sound for a decade.
You're picking a very specific sound. You know how much music there is in this world? You're picking a very specific.
I'm the one who listens to the different music all around the world. You don't listen to anything that has a different language.
I do. I listen to every music around the world. I don't listen like religiously like how you do, but I definitely listen.
But no, I like the song just because it's 80 cents and trap drums.
Innovation.
It's not innovation.
Yes, it is.
I don't count that as innovation.
What do you count it as then? What is it?
I don't know. You know I'm shit with words. I'm a writer, not a speaker.
Is it something different?
It's just something different.
Yeah. Is it something different?
Eh,
Is it something new?
I don't know if it's something new.
I think it's something new. You're using old stuff to create something new. Which you have
okay,
to.
but go
which
up.
you have
Okay,
to
here's
in
an
music.
example then. Here's an example then. Before Funkadelic, who else was making that weird ass sounds?
You don't think Funkadelic took different parts of music and made it to Funkadelic?
Do you even know who Funkadelic is?
I don't know what Funkadelic
They're an
is.
old ass funk band.
But let me think. You think
that era of musicians, they were doing weird shit because they were on fucking acid and heroin.
But you don't think.
Basically, my summary is artists need to get back on acid and heroin.
But you don't think Funkadelic took music that they heard before, sounds, instruments, and made something different? You think they just
did something way different than anything else?
But you think they just created whole different instruments and sounds, everything?
A lot of sounds
Evan,
they used were way different.
I'm sure they had influence.
But here's the thing. What I will say is during that era of music, what started the change was they went from only having live instruments to synths being created.
Yeah.
Whereas now everything is basically synth. You don't have the same progression when it comes to the changes in instruments that you have available to you. We've basically had the same things available to us since like the 90s or early 2000s. But the only difference is now everything is just you can get it in a software package.
Yeah. But they are still innovating, creating different structures and sounds, not sounds, different structures in music and songs.
If I wanted to go through structures of some of these songs, structure hasn't changed that much. I mean, they are very common structures and there's less common structures, but they've all existed. if you want to get into music theory. If I wanted to hear something, if you wanted to have a pop song that sounded so different than other things, it's get off of 4/4 timing, go on something completely different.
Yeah.
Because almost every music is based on 4/4 time signature.
Yeah. But you can find a song like that.
There are very few where you have like say like a 3/4 or a 5/8.
All I'm saying is, I think this argument has been too long with it.
But what I'm basically saying is, I feel like I have not seen that much innovation, at least over a period of time comparatively to other things. Part of that goes down to is there's not the same level of music education that happens. The other part of it is basically the conglomeration of companies basically fucking, there's 3 music companies nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
There is Sony Music, there is Universal Music, and then there is Warner Brothers Music, and that's it.
My argument is,
And
I think there's innovation within music. If you want to talk about mainstream music, you hear
that's
on the,
what I'm talking
you hear
about.
on the
Mainstream.
radio. If you hear on the
Because
radio,
indie is always going to innovate. 'Cause that's what it has to do. I'm talking about mainstream specifically.
If you're talking about mainstream, I guess, but I was talking about music as a whole, like the art. Wasn't just talking about mainstream. And
I'm talking about mainstream because that's what gets back. That's what most people are hearing. If you're a music lover, you're going to find different things.
Yeah, and there's
because you're going to search for it because that's what you want.
And there's a lot of music lovers.
Not enough.
Oh, there's a lot. You'll be surprised. A lot of these indie artists are successful.
Oh yeah, for sure. But that's also because they've changed the model more to being direct to consumer.
Or it's just easier to find these indie artists now. Easier to listen to. Easier to, like you said, get consumers.